Welcome back to the latest episode of the Bullpen from the Sad Baseball Podcast. This time, you know what? I didn't even ask you how to pronounce. I assume that it's the Dombroski. I don't know how hard the O is there.
Yeah, so Dombroski.
So kind of like the Phillies GM, right?
Yeah, exactly like it. Except I don't have a W in the last name, but yeah, same exact way.
Gotcha. Well, sitting here joining us today is Trey Dombroski. We're so thrilled and thankful for your time, being able to sit down with you. You've had quite a season, man. It looked like, from the Twitter accounts, had a pretty good weekend aside from just the start itself. You want to tell me about how the weekend was for you?
Yeah, no, it was a great weekend. We won the first game on Friday. We put together a really good, offensive push. We won like 11-0, I think. So that was a really good start. And then Saturday was really cool because got to break the strikeout record in a single season, which was really cool. It's I don't really pay attention to the records and stuff. I kind of just go about my business, to be honest, because I don't want that stuff creeping in. It's a goal, obviously, but that's just something I kind of go about my business. I just be me. But yeah, this weekend was really exciting. It sucks that we got canceled yesterday. But it's a quick turnaround. We're heading up to Canisius up in Buffalo tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to the last series of the regular season and then into the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. I like I guess not the analogy, but how you kind of talked about breaking that strikeout record. For me, what comes to mind is Miggy, right? Just breaking 3,000 hits. And obviously, it wasn't like an all-time player record, but when he talked about it leading up, it was like, hey, I've just been going about my business for all these years and stick to what's made me successful. So, hey, full credit to you. That's an awesome accomplishment. I think even a greater testimony given the sort of state of college athletics now, right? I mean, you commit to a school, you go there your freshman year, and a lot of people, right, whether it's, playing time or program changes, there's a lot of transfers nowadays. And
absolutely,
who knows how that's going to develop, right, as NIL continues to grow. But congratulations, and I think it's an even greater accomplishment given the state of college athletics. So that was really awesome to see.
Yeah, no, thank you. Like I said, I kind of wish we got the win, but it's at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we're setting up for a good series this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it and just getting back out there and having fun, competing. I've never been up to Canisius before, so I'm really excited about going up there for the first time.
So speaking of, are you from like the New Jersey area?
Yeah, so it's funny. I'm actually from the Jersey Shore.
Okay.
A little bit, the TV show is what probably first comes to mind for you. I'm about 45 minutes north of where that was filmed in Seaside. I live in a town called Manasquan. So Manasquan Wall, whichever one you want to call it. So I grew up there. I've been living here my whole life, born and raised here. And it's a cool spot. It's a really, really cool spot. It's laid back, but in the summer, once all the people start coming down and visiting, it's kind of hectic, which makes it unique in a sense. It's really cool. There's a ton of stuff to go see. I'm a 5-minute bike ride from the beach, and then it's kind of it's really cool. It's a really great place to grow up and just have a ton of fun and have a great group of friends, have a great family, and the support staff from my town is unbelievable. Like I can't even speak to how great it is. So it's really cool seeing that stuff just because it's a great spot to grow up.
Absolutely. I always love it when people take the time to recognize the support system that has gotten them to where they are. Because, whether it's wherever you are in life, there's always somebody backing you up and being in your corner. So now, did you say 45 minutes north or south of where that?
45 minutes north.
Okay, so now
north.
So growing up, were you? Did you have like a major league team that you followed, or even
So it's funny you ask that. Usually the answer is going to be the Yankees, Mets, or Phillies. But I guess you could say I'm an outlier. My grandfather was a huge Brooklyn Dodgers fan, so my dad was a Los Angeles Dodgers fan, and then growing up, I loved Clayton Kershaw. Like he was my role model.
Oh my gosh!
Never got in trouble off the field. Like just went about his business, and I mean, he's put together a really great career. So yeah, the Dodgers are kind of the team I root for. But coming up for the draft, whatever team I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to play for. I'm going to go and give them my best effort, and I'm going to be rooting for them all along. So it's really exciting times, to say the least.
That's awesome. I know. So it's funny you mentioned Kershaw. So I am from Dallas, Texas. We played a couple of the high school that he and Stafford and all those guys went to once
Yeah,
or
and
twice.
it was funny. Funny you said that. I remember looking at when Stafford won the Super Bowl. They were like, they're best friends, and I'm like,
Yeah,
holy crap,
yeah.
that's kind of cool. Like it's insane that they went to the same school. Just two unbelievable athletes. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, and they're very rooted as well, very down to earth. But I love because anybody that has watched you pitch knows that you're a southpaw lefty. Anybody
Yeah,
that hasn't, so I was the same. So just a little context, people, the listeners know. So I was a walk on at Georgia Tech for a year or so. I was a left-handed pitcher as well, and so being from Texas, the great left-handed pitchers of our generation, right? The first person you go to is Kershaw, and then I never really had like that one Rangers pitcher to root for. Like it was a kind of a carousel of like Cliff Lee came in for like a half year, and he was awesome to watch. Hold on, sorry, I was weird. Somebody tried to airplay something to me. I was in an interview. Cliff Lee came in for like a playoff push, and then they signed Hamels, and he was there for several years, and he was awesome to watch because I never really developed a changeup, and Hamels is like one of the greatest changeup throwers of
to say the least.
Yeah.
Say it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it's funny you were bringing that up. Growing up, I always wanted to use Clayton Kershaw's glove like that.
Yeah.
He had that model, that A2000 model. It was.
Did you ever try to emulate the delivery at all?
A little bit, not really.
It's very unique.
But it's very unique, which is exactly right. But he's a great guy to root for, just because off the field too, he's just like the model human being. He's just such a great guy, and it's so cool to see that ping pong tournament every year he hosts at Dodger Stadium. I'm like, that's great, because one of my like goals is to win the Roberto Clemente Award. Like I want to do that. So, and he's a guy that if he doesn't win, he comes close to it, or he does a really good job at just supporting the people around him. And that's what I want to do. I want to make an impact off the field too with baseball. So it's that's kind of who I am.
I really appreciate you sharing that. So little background, I live in Pittsburgh right now. My mom's side of the family is a little bit from Pittsburgh. And so I grew up with stories of Clemente, and to see how many players talk about how they would prefer to win a Clemente Award, like an MVP, or players that have won both, they talk about which one means the most to them. It's the Clemente Award. So last thing on Kershaw is I think it's a testament to how universally respected he is, that I think everyone was rooting for him to get that ring, back in 2020.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I was too. It was a couple of years where it was like they would make it to the NLCS and then they'd lose. And then the thing with the Astros, they got in there and then they finally won it, which was really cool to watch. I'm glad I got to see it. Definitely. I'm really happy I got to see it.
Well, so, growing up north of the Georgia Shore, what was your high school baseball experience like? And, was there ever a moment that kind of like clicked for you? Like, okay, I'm pretty decent at baseball. I think I could do this on the next level. And, what was your recruiting process like and help you settle on Monmouth?
Yeah. So it's funny. Growing up, my family's a huge basketball family just because my mom, her dad played for the Rochester Royals. He's Seton Hall legend, played in the NBA for a little bit, was a first round draft pick. So growing up, I was always basketball. Like that's what I've always played. Baseball too, obviously in there, but in high school, I played football for my freshman year and then baseball and basketball for the rest of my college or high school career. So around my sophomore year, was kind of really where it started to turn. To begin my sophomore year, I was on JV for a little bit. And that's kind of where I was like, because all my friends were on varsity, I was like, wow, like I should probably really take this up a notch and kind of, I want to be like what they are. Like I want to be on the varsity team. So that's kind of where I put my head down a little bit and was just like doing everything I could to make it on the varsity team. Later that year, I was fortunate enough to get called up one time and they're like, we need you to pitch. And I started, and then the rest is kind of a story, kind of storybook ending. My recruiting process was a little different. I only had 3 schools that were reaching out to me at the time, not heavily recruited. And Monmouth, was close to home. Really, my older brother played at Monmouth. So that really kind of drew me there, and it was close to home, so my parents could get to see my games, and all my whole family, my mom's side and my dad's side, lived close to here. So it's really cool because the home games, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like a student section for myself. It's awful, but it's really cool to see them come out and just support me. So that's why kind of drew me to Monmouth. It was close to home, and I get to play in front of my parents all the time. And really, what was cool for me was last year when me and my brother were playing. My parents, whatever game they would come to, either I was pitching or my brother was pitching. So that's why it was really cool. And kind of the one moment that sticks out to me was the first game last year against Quinnipiac. I started, and then my brother came in after me and finished the game. I was like, this is pretty cool. This is really cool.
Wow.
So,
was your brother, did he graduate before or after you?
Yeah, so he actually graduated last year.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so he's 3 years older than me. But that was really cool for me just because I've never done that before. And that was probably a really cool moment for my parents and my family just to see that.
Absolutely. That's awesome. One quick question on something you said. So growing up, I was not super athletic. Like when I played basketball, I played forward because I was taller, but I wasn't, that fast. And so for me, going into high school, I kind of specialized right as a one sport athlete in baseball. And I definitely, didn't develop a lot of the athleticism that, a lot of baseball players have. And even as a pitcher, right, you still have that native athleticism. So, do you feel strongly about, playing multiple athletes when you're growing up and try to be well-rounded versus taking the time to specialize?
Absolutely. Just speaking from my experience, it's funny. I'm two different, like in basketball is a different player than I am from baseball. Like two different people. In basketball is like the guy always going for rebounds, just like getting into stuff, really kind of going at it. And in baseball, I'm like kind of the silent killer, I guess you can say. Like I'm not going to overpower you with my fastball or anything like that. Like I'm just going to outsmart you is kind of how I go about it. But yeah, I think playing those extra sports is really beneficial because I take away the competitiveness, really. Like that's kind of what it was for me. Like outside of baseball, like I was still able to compete in some sort of sport setting. That's what I really liked about it, and was just like have some fun, take a break from baseball for a little bit. Like it might overwhelm you sometimes, and that's what I took during basketball. It was just like let's take a step back, let's go play basketball and have some fun. And I like when I was playing basketball, I always said to them, like, I owe it to you guys. Like, it's not baseball season, it's basketball season. So I was all in on that. And then once baseball season would come around, I was all in on that. So it was really interesting, and I wouldn't trade anything for it. Like, I absolutely loved my high school and past sports experiences.
I don't know how closely you follow the NBA. When the scrappy kind of players like that. Have you watched Jose Alvarado at all? I think he was on the Pelicans,
Yes.
I want to say.
Yes, the point guard from Georgia Tech.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that comes full circle now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, so one question you mentioned, not really overpowering hitters. I think people would ask, like, okay, strikeout record without an overpowering fastball. How do you like to, when you're attacking hitters, do you incorporate a lot of information from scouting reports, or do you like to set up, your weapons in a specific way that augment them and make them all better?
It's a little bit of both, to be honest. I'm really known for like my control and command. So it's like I'm gonna take my strong suit over the hitter's strong suit is kind of how I go about it. And like you said, I kind of set up hitters with stuff, kind of piggybacking pitches off of each other and kind of thinking what the hitter's thinking and throwing the opposite of that is kind of what I do. So yeah, it's like I said, it's like almost a silent assassin. Like you don't have the overpowering stuff, but like you're just going to outsmart and be more precise than the hitter. So that's kind of how I go about it.
What's your favorite pitch to throw? Like, is it, you just dotted up a fastball and the hitter was sitting off speed, or you spin a really beautiful, breaking pitch and it just catches like the outside corner, they're not looking for it? Like, was there one pitch that when you release it and you're like, damn, that was a good, that felt good?
So it's funny you say that. I really like when, like you said first, where a guy's thinking off speed and you throw a fastball and they kind of like take it. They're like, oh crap, I was sitting off speed and that was the fastball. I really like that just because I just think it's really cool. Like you said, like when you release it, you're like, wow, that was pretty good. That felt pretty good coming out of the hand. So that's what I really like.
Awesome. Well, hey, so moving on, to the start of your college season, the first one I saw, and correct me if this is wrong, I saw 2020. You really had kind of a crescendoing start to that season, right? A couple of rougher starts, and then it looked like the last one before the COVID shutdown, you had a really, really good start. And then obviously baseball was canceled, stopped. Can you talk a little bit about what that experience is like going through the COVID shutdown and how you came out on the other side as such a dominant pitcher for Monmouth?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Coming out of high school, like I thought I was just going to succeed at college just because I succeeded in high school. Like that's what I was thinking. And those first 3 or 4 starts were very humbling, to say the least. I was like, all right, the sport is not as easy as you think it is. But it, like you said, after that last start, it kind of made me realize what I was bad at and what I was good at, like what my strengths and weaknesses were. And during that COVID shutdown, that's what I really worked on was, look, I'm not the strongest person ever. So that's what I kind of addressed was getting in the weight room, getting stronger, eating better, and then just moving better, really just becoming a better athlete. And then on the pitching side was like, I knew my control was really a part that was good. Like that was already a strength a little bit, but I wanted to make it where it was like, all right, this is what separates me from most guys. Let's work on this control and let's get it to where you can throw any pitch in any count at any spot. And that's what I really worked on was just kind of working on that control and command where it was like, I'm so confident in this pitch that I'm able to throw it whenever I want.
That's really cool. Yeah. So, 2020 rolls around. As an observer, probably easy to say that was definitely a breakout season in college for you. And then go to the Cape Cod League. Can you talk about what your experience was having the success you did after baseball came back in 2021, and then translating that to have such a successful kind of summer in that Cape Cod League?
Yeah, so the Cape Cod League was like unbelievable. I can write like 1,000-page story on it. Like it was the most incredible thing I've ever done. And what really made it easy was the guys that I lived with, the guys that I played with, and especially my host family. Like they really made it easy on me. And the really cool thing was you get to play with the kids from the bigger schools. Like we go to a mid-major school. So I was playing with kids from Power 5 schools where I was like, wow, I never thought I'd get the opportunity to do this. But really what I learned up there was like who I am as a pitcher and who I'm not. Like I said to you before, I'm not the guy that's going to come and throw 98 and blow by you. Like that's just not me. Like I'm going to have to hit certain spots and I can't miss a lot. And that's really what I learned about myself was like, you need to take what you learn, like previous experiences and evolve them. So for me, it was like, I learned where I could miss and where I couldn't miss on certain pitches. And it was just like going up there, I wanted to build confidence in myself, just replicate good start after good start. And really at the end of the day, just give my team a shot to win at the end. And it was really cool because the guys I played with are the best baseball players I've ever seen. Like literally, they're all unbelievable. And it was really cool because they all go about their work in a different way. So it was really unbelievable. And then coming over to this year, kind of just winning Cape Cod Pitcher of the Year kind of put gas on the fire, to be honest. It was just like, hey, you got the confidence now. You might as well just go out and do even more than you already did. I really kind of set goals for myself, short-term goals, and like want to achieve them and want to shatter them, to be honest. So this year was just like, I want to go out and show who I am, kind of who I am as a pitcher and who I am as a person. So this year was just like, go out there and give your team a shot to win. Like that's all you have to do and good things will happen. So this year was just like, hey, keep throwing zeros up on the board and let the guys hit and, you'll be in a really good spot at the end of the day. And that's kind of what I do.
I love that your theme of competition has continued, right? From being a multi-sport athlete, always wanting to compete, and then translating that to the Cape Cod, as you said, playing against the premier college players in the country. Was there any player that you live with, played with, or pitched against that has a story that sticks out in your mind and made that experience, like you said, such a memorable one?
So it was funny. Hitter I faced was Brooks Lee. Like, he is probably going to go top 5 this year. Like, no doubt. He's probably one of the best baseball players I've ever seen. And just watching him when we played him.
Is he the shortstop at Cal Poly?
From Cal Poly.
Yeah.
Just watching him, I was like, this is almost like watching a big leaguer go about his business, but he's playing with us. So that was really cool. And then a bunch of guys on my team, like, the list goes on and on. I can name all of them. They were all different in a sense, but at the end of the day, they were all really good baseball players. Like I said, they all went about their business in a different way, but at the end of the day, they were all pretty good at the sport. So that's why it was really cool to see just how different guys, need to take an off day, where some guys are full pedal to the metal, like, all the time. And that kind of taught me certain stuff about me, like what works for me, what doesn't work for me. So it was really cool, just because there were so many different experiences that it was like, I'm going to take all these experience and make mine unique from all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you talked pretty at length about how you've developed your approach to pitching and how you developed, your pitching identity, if you will. Is there anything specific, like from a player or a coach, that the Cape Cod League you kind of incorporated into your own identity or arsenal at all?
Yeah, so it's funny. The catcher up there, Patrick Winkle, who played up there in 2019, came up this past year for a little bit before the draft. And I went up to him and was like, hey, what makes guys successful here? Like, what separates different guys from, I guess, the rest of the pack? And he was like, look, to be honest, you just got to be confident in your stuff. Like, if I put down fastball and you don't want it, like, shake to what you want. Like, don't be afraid to say no. And, like, whatever pitch you want to throw is the pitch you're going to throw. But what I incorporated was just like, hey, you've put in all the work prior to this point. Like, just go out and go be you. Like, it's hard to kind of paint a picture of a pitcher you aren't. Like I said before, like, you have to pitch to the pitcher you are. And that's what I really learned was like I said, I'm not going to throw harder and make you swing. Like, I'm not going to blow it by you, basically. Right. Like, I'm going to have to outthink you. And that's what I really learned up there was like, I like to pitch backwards, and I'm going to have to rely on my command and just making you swing at pitches that look like strikes but aren't.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it's also a credit to the preparation and the work that you put in. It's a lot easier to be confident in yourself when hey, I've put those hours in the weight room. I've put those hours in the film room, on the scouting report. I'm prepared to execute at a high level.
Absolutely.
Hey, yeah. So, this year, obviously, you've had an incredible year, break the strikeout record. You talked about setting kind of short-term goals. We'll wrap up here in a couple minutes, but can you share one of those short-term goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of this season that you said like you shattered?
Yeah. So right now, one of the short-term goals for me that I haven't shattered yet is I want to make a regional, because I've never done that. That's something I've never gotten the opportunity to do. And Monmouth hasn't gotten there in a little while. So that's something that I put for me and the team was just like, let's go win a regional. All the kids on the team have never been there, so why not go do it now? That's definitely one of my goals is like, let's win the conference tournament and let's go to a Power 5 school who's going to host. Like, let's go there and see what we got. That's what I really want to do, just because I want to win so bad. Like, I hate losing so much. Like, it bothers me. And, I really want to win. And hopefully if I get the opportunity to play professional baseball after this year, like, this is my last college season and I want to make it memorable. So that's definitely something that I want to, go out and do, is go make that regional and just have fun with these guys.
You're obviously a leader when you get on the mound, right? It's awesome to have that guy that when you go on the bump, you guys have a great chance to win. would you consider yourself a leader on the team? I know you've set these goals for yourself and the team. And how do you go about instilling that kind of confidence as well as goal setting for the entire team to say, I want this, and here's what I'm going to do to help everybody, to help all of us get there?
Absolutely. So yeah, I definitely see myself as a leader just because I feel like I go about my business in a different way than most guys. Like I know when to turn it on and turn it off. Like once I step in between the lines, like I am a completely different person than I am off the field. Like off the field, I'm happy go lucky, always having fun, like, just being myself. And then once I step out on that mound, it's like, all right, it's go time. It's time to compete. And, being a leader puts a lot of pressure on me and the other guys that are leaders just because, you have to uphold like the gold standard is what I like to say. But I feel
Lead by
like the
example.
pressure, yeah, it's like the pressure really brings out a good side of me. And that's why I thought the Cape Cod League brought out a good side of me, is because you're going up against the best players. Like you got to bring your A game. But back to being a leader, it's just like I try and tell the guys, like, don't be too hard on yourself because this game is a game of failure at the end of the day. Like if you succeed 3 out of 10 times, you're considered one of the best hitters ever. Like, and that's crazy to me. And that's like what I tell these guys is like, don't beat yourself up, because once you start beating yourself up, you're done. Like this game will just beat you up even more. And another thing is like, you almost have to go out there with like an edge or like a different type of swagger is what I kind of tell them, is like, go out there and just be you. Like, don't be scared to make an error. Like go play hard and play fast. Like just go give your best effort. And at the end of the day, like even if you lose and you give your best effort, you're going to feel pretty good about it because you left it all out there. So it's definitely hard to be a leader, but it brings out a really good side of me, and I love doing it because there's a lot of pressure on you, and I love the pressure.
I think you've demonstrated, at least to me in this short conversation, like your work ethic, the preparation you put in. I know those are some of the qualities that a leader by example exhibits, and I know people will want to follow that. Well, hey, we typically do like a kind of quick pitch segment of a couple of 30-second to 1 minute answers just to get you to know a little bit better. You already answered one. We typically ask everybody what their favorite major league player is. Would that be Kershaw for you?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw. Well, yeah. Just because of that, I love, like, whenever I see his curveball, I'm like, that is great. Like, I can't believe he can do that. Like, it just blows my mind every time I watch him.
The Cooperstown. Did you watch Sunday Night Baseball last night by chance?
I did.
Waino was pitching against the Giants, and they're the same.
So he's literally a righty version of Kershaw. Like that's what I see it as. It's just unbelievable.
Well, okay. Instead of that one, then I'll ask you if you could. And we haven't asked anybody this one, but it just kind of popped into my head. If you could build a 4-pitch arsenal, anybody in the majors, like one person's fastball, another person's slider, curveball, changeup, whatever, what would it be?
Ooh, so definitely Kershaw's curveball.
Yeah. I think you could even say his slider right now is on another level.
Yeah,
he's really pivoted as he's developed and aged.
You'd have to say Devin Williams' changeup.
The airbender.
The airbender, the screwball, I guess we can call it. And then slider, ooh. That's a very tough question. I guess we could go fastball. We could go Jordan Hicks. Like his fastball is unbelievable. Slider, maybe like a Robbie Ray, Carlos Rodon. Thinking lefties.
Rodon's a great answer. Yeah. He's really turned it on this year.
Oh yeah, and it's cool to see how guys evolve each year and stuff like that, and always one up themselves, I guess you can say.
Yeah. All right. Well, so a lot of bus trips, in college baseball. If you got a 4, 5, 6 hour ride, what's Trey doing in the back of the bus?
So it's funny. I'm usually watching movies.
Yeah.
This past weekend, I watched the first 2 Spider-Man with Tom Holland. I watched those 2 this weekend, and up to Buffalo, I'm gonna watch the 3rd one, the one that just came out. I'm kind of rewatching all the Marvel movies. I think it blows my mind that people come up with these ideas. I'm like, this is awesome. So that's what I'm usually doing, either watching a show, watching a movie, or just listening to music, just hanging out, not really talking. So yeah, just laid back, being myself, you know.
I like it. I like it. So speaking of road trips, whether it's high school, college, Cape Cod, what's your favorite ballpark you've been able to either visit as a player or actually pitch in?
Ooh, that's a great question. I guess we'd have to say Philly Stadium. I got the opportunity to
Ooh,
pitch there in like a tournament my sophomore and junior year of high school. That was really cool. Got to do that. But I guess we could say College Stadium. We'd have to go with University of San Diego. We went out there my freshman year. That was really cool. Really, really cool.
cross coast. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So I guess I'd have to say those two.
Very cool. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever gotten to pitch in a major league one, but that's awesome. Well, hey
Yeah,
man,
it was
I
really cool.
really appreciate you taking the time. I, can't say enough about the character you exude as well as the, on the mound presence that you've had this year. So, TJ actually is one of the other hosts who wasn't able to make it today. But,
Absolutely.
he lives in Monmouth County, so he might try to make it out to a start.
No
I think it
way.
only got
Awesome.
the one weekend, I believe. Where's y'all's conference tournament?
Oh my gosh, I forget the name. It's
That's
up in New York. So yeah, so where the New York Boulders play is where it
okay.
is. That professional stadium up in New York. I forget
Gotcha.
the town it's in,
Is
but
it
up in
Albany
it's.
by chance?
I
No.
don't think so.
Okay.
Pomona, I think it is Pomona, New York. Not
There's a
sure.
lot of small towns that people don't know about in
Yeah,
New York.
yeah, that's exact. Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know he'll want to try to make it out. I come to New Jersey sometimes for work. I'm in Chicago right now. I'm going to go catch a flight back home to Pittsburgh. But thank you
Oh
so
yeah.
much for taking the time, man. We wish you nothing but the best. And it sounded like you are for sure entering the draft this after the conclusion of the season.
Hopefully, yes, that's what we're
Okay,
going for. But first, we're gonna go and win that regional, go
that's
win that
right.
conference tournament, and make that regional. That's what we're going for. And that's what I'm focused on right now.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be pulling for you, man. Thank you so much, Trey. We really
Yeah,
appreciate the
no,
time.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for letting me come on. It was great, and it was great getting to meet you. And I wish you the
Yeah,
best in the future. And I'm looking forward to meeting again.
absolutely. Let's do it after the draft or something like that.
Sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate
All
it.
right. Best of luck. Go get that regional slot,
Thank you.
man.
Appreciate it.
Later.